Hello and welcome back to Scrap Mechanic, and it has been a while since this game has been on the channel and a while since I have played it. But I booted it up the other day for the first time in about a year, and I built this thing. A generic European lorry cab slash semi-truck. It does this. Wow, amazing. I can't remember what all the buttons do. It's not very exciting. But it has a little bit of a fancy suspension setter going on the back, and I threw a bunch of little details on it. The suspension is kind of too stiff to really demonstrate without a trailer, but I tried making a trailer and it was unplayably laggy. But that is not the focus of the video, go away. After building that, I was then thinking, what should I build next? Then I had an idea. As someone who has played a lot of SnowRunner and is going to play some SnowRunner again pretty soon, like, say, tomorrow, I was thinking maybe there's some SnowRunner vehicles that I could build, because there's some pretty cool big vehicles that might work in this game. And, well, the first one that came to mind was the TwinSteer. And as you can see, the FPS is not a fan. So I'm going to put it on the left, and we can look at it like this to begin with. So, obviously this doesn't line up. The piston pushes that into place, and the spare wheel sorts itself out and goes in the middle rather than being clipped into the bottom. And obviously I can't open the doors. But this is based off the Western Star 6900 TwinSteer. It is the longer bed version rather than the shorter bed version or the fifth wheel version. A lot of details that have gone into this, and it is mostly based on images I could find of the real TwinSteer rather than the TwinSteer featured in-game. And a lot of this stuff under the bed is all a bit random. All of the different images that I looked at had different arrangements of things going on. They often had different winch setups and this whole middle bit. Some of them had the stairs going this way, some of them had the stairs going that way, some of them had the stairs going that way. They all seem to be a bit different. So I just kind of went with something that's a bit of a mix of all of them. But obviously we've got a big winch on here and the roller at the back that does actually spin when it's not on the left. There's also, if you go under here, you can see there's an engine in there. We'll see a better view of that in a minute. If I put the lift over here, you can see that we have quite a lot of suspension travel going on. Got to make sure you keep traction because this is only rear wheel drive. Only these four wheels are powered. There's some pass-through stuff going on, so there's actually 3 powered bearings per wheel so that it has many torque. But if I actually open the door and hop in, and then just put the camera in one place and leave it so that you don't have to suffer too badly from the lag, we have lights, we have more lights, and it has the spinny beacons, because why not? But then something I spent way too long doing is making this engine, so we can actually open up both flaps independently. And in here we have an engine. It is Caterpillar inspired, that is why it is yellow, and it has a big fan at the front. If I hop in and I start trying to move, you'll see that the fan spins faster, because why not? So if I flap those down and shut the door, if you could just ignore the fact that we're running at 16 FPS, because I don't quite know why this lags so badly. I think the new wedges are just not very well optimized, because obviously there's quite a lot of wedges going on this thing. There's the whole front end really is made out of just a load of wedges, and probably because this whole thing moves and the doors open and there's quite a lot of complicated suspension going on at the back, the game doesn't really like it. But yes, well, as this is quite long, it doesn't steer very well, which is not surprising. It is quite quick though. Even though we're on 14 FPS, it still moves quite quickly. I have attempted to put heavy things on the back of it, and it does a decent job of moving. Sometimes you have to bump up the engine power because it's not too high. I didn't want to give this thing too much power and have it be too ridiculously fast, because then the suspension doesn't like it and glitches out. You can also kind of look inside, and I mean there's not that much to look at, but there's a big kind of gear stick thing and some other stuff, obviously taken from more real images that I found of the interior. There were not in fact any images of the engine bay, so I had to kind of make some of that more up, but it's an engine that could reasonably have been fitted to this vehicle. We do have these horns up here, and they do work, but it's not very loud because it's scrap mechanic. And the air conditioning thing I have attempted to model. As you can see, there is a decent amount of glitch welding going on. A lot of things have been glitch welded to make, like these lights and the air conditioner and the horns and the exhausts here are clipped into these because that's how it fits best. It looks a bit silly if I put it a block further out. And also all of this is glitch welded together, and there's a lot of glitch welding going on, but it enables me to make things look so much better. You may also notice that these are not vanilla wheels. Vanilla wheels look, well, let me put them on it, but if I just put some vanilla wheels on it for a second, I just look at it. The wheels are so ridiculously small in the wheel wells, and then at the back, they're just tiny. And for some reason, the suspension doesn't like them either. But it's just comically small on it. It's just, they're so tiny compared to the scale of the truck. So, why didn't I just build a truck smaller to go with it? Well, I like building at 1 to 20 scale, so one block is 20 centimeters. I think the official scale is one block is 25, so 4 blocks to a meter. I like to use 5 blocks to a meter. I think that gives me a lot more room for detail, and it also means that the size of my creation is a little more impressive because, well, the TwinSteer is huge. In real life, these things are massive. Just absolutely like dominates your field of view when you're anywhere near it. You don't quite get the impression of in SnowRunner. Like, obviously, it's a big truck in SnowRunner. You can tell that it's big, but because there's so many other really big vehicles, you lose the fact that this thing is huge. The lag's really not going to be happy with this one, but here is my little European lorry cab comparison. Don't know why it's shaking. Physics is just having a moment. Like, height-wise, they're comparable. And this has a sleeper thing. Like, the reason this is so tall is because you've got, like, the extra large sleeper compartment thing going on in here. The standard version of the lorry would probably come up to, like, there, and just be a flat roof there. And if I move this forward to be kind of in line with the front of the bumper of the TwinSteer, it's just like, it's so small in comparison. The bed hasn't even started and we've reached the back of my little truck there. And this is the same scale. I wonder if I can put this on the bed, or whether the game will get very angry. Wonderful FPS. We now have 5. 4, 5, yeah, this is the scrap mechanic experience right here. Obviously, if it had frames, it would move. As you can see, it does not in fact care. It is going to move at what would be a reasonable pace at a reasonable FPS. But, yeah, no, that's enough of that. You can see just how much narrower it is as well. There's 2 blocks on either side. I'm not entirely sure the width of the TwinSteer is proportionally accurate to the height. Couldn't find as much resources on that. So perhaps it should be 1 or 2 blocks narrower overall, but I can't really take that out from any one place, because obviously this needs to be this width, and then this needs to line up with that and line up with this, and everything wouldn't line up properly if I took a block out of it. So I can't really make it any narrower, even though perhaps from looking at it, it should be slightly narrower. Yes, this is available on the workshop, has been available for a few days, and if you want to go check it out, then go for it. Anyway, let's get rid of this, and let's bring out the second SnowRunner inspired vehicle I made. This is the TREKOL 39294, the vehicle that is the basis for the YAR 87 in SnowRunner. You know, the 6-wheel Scout, the one that looks like this. I mean, the most notable difference in SnowRunner is that it has a larger front bumper and sort of more angled grey front to the fenders, whereas the real one has smaller lights than this. I just didn't have smaller lights available, so they should be a little smaller and sort of inset into the front of the fender. But it does have, from the factory, it has this smaller bumper with the winch on it, rather than the great big thing that SnowRunner has. As you can see, this one is significantly less laggy because it's way smaller, and yes, the door mechanism sucks. I used to have door mechanism like this one, and this one's so much neater. Look how much nicer this door looks than the weird hinge from over here that this one has. But because of the seats here, it doesn't work. So again, lots of glitch welding going on. I mean, you can see that the seat is glitch welded into the stuff, and this is glitch welded into here, and the windows are glitch welded to be round, and all of that. Using the same mod for the wheels. These wheels are in fact the same size, which is pretty funny. But yes, it's built to the same scale, so that doesn't quite add up. But this thing just has giant wheels because it's a like swamp thing. Swamp and snow is what it's advertised for. Again, I can open the bonnet up. No modeled engine on this one because I didn't have room to put all the actual stuff somewhere else on the TwinSteer. There's the section of the frame underneath the cab is where all the actual functional mechanical stuff is. I don't have room on this because it's too compact, so the functional stuff has to go in there. We then have the lights, and what does that one do? I can't remember. Oh, that's the interior lights, because you need those. They're not entirely accurate. They should be on the sides. I'm kind of stuck. I forgot that the roof's a bit low. Yes, the roof is a little unfortunately placed. It's a bit of an awkward one to get out of sometimes. Probably we'd be better off if I were driving and then hopped out. Right, so yes. In the back here, the roof should technically all be at this height, because it should be like a sheet of metal rather than being 20 centimeters thick, but that's just a limitation of the game. So there should really be a sort of bevel round the edge, and the light should be set into that. A limitation of the game. The inside of the vehicle is going to be smaller than the outside of the vehicle by more than it should be. There's no door opening on here. It's controlled by that seat, but the switch is on the outside. I can, however, go out the top, because that's a thing on the real one. And I didn't put anything in the roof rack, because there is nothing from the factory in the roof rack, surprisingly enough. I mean, the roof rack itself is not one of the basic options. It's one of the extra things you can add, like the ladder. And these wheels are based off one of the optional ones, because that's the closest I had. So we can now open this up and look inside again. There should actually be one of the things I'm most annoyed about with the way this has turned out in the sort of scaling. There should be a gap between the seats. There isn't. They're literally on top of each other. But there should be... They should be kind of a block over, but because of the way seats in Scrap Mechanic work, although the actual seat itself, and you can see it ends on this block here, the actual the seat part continues for another block, and well, if I open the door up and then get trapped, come on, please can you move out of the thing? Well, obviously the door has to go to this block, so it has to then be on this block, which then pushes the seat further in than it should be. But I would have to significantly increase the outside scale of the vehicle to make the inside scale of the vehicle work. Now naturally we have a decent suspension system going on. There's not too much travel on this one, because the wheel arches do actually kind of get in the way. And it's all using leaf springs from the same mod of the wheels, so both of these require, both the TwinSteer and this require the one wheeled by Karasu mod, and that's it for both of them. Oh, I can also knock these up. If you're going to bottom out on them, well, you won't, because they just rotate and then get stuck because Scrap Mechanic movement. I don't know why they don't fall down if you push them up too high. Ignore that. Shall we actually take this thing for a drive? It's not the best handling thing in the world. Surprisingly enough, when you have 6 wheels and only 2 of them steer, it doesn't turn all that sharply. The suspension travel is not all that much, as you can see. It often just kind of hits the wheel arches. But the real suspension travel is not all that much either. It probably should be able to drop down a little more than it can in game, but that's because suspension is incapable of expanding without glitching out. It really does not want to be expanded, so probably don't try and make it expand in general. But, you know, it can still climb over things because it has 6-wheel drive, and the rear diffs are effectively locked. Not that it has diffs, but the rear axles, I guess, are solid axles. I mean, the front is kind of a solid axle, but it doesn't rotate because I couldn't make compact enough steering and like rotating axle. So you get an open diff at the front and locked diffs at the back. That probably doesn't help with the handling. Having two of your axles having welded diffs probably doesn't make it turn sharper. And the real vehicle is also supposed to be amphibious. You can have the option of a boat motor on the back, or a kind of water propulsion jet thing. It kind of floats, but it also kind of doesn't. And it doesn't move, because this is Scrap Mechanic, and the water physics are incredibly dubious. Yeah, it's not exactly amphibious, which is unfortunate. And obviously, again, all the proportions are measured and made as accurate as I could possibly make them. Some things, therefore, don't come through, like the roof and the sort of sides should have a slight angle to them, but I can't exactly replicate that. And these lights don't look right. They're not the right kind of lights. They should be slightly higher, but this is as close as I can get. But when I say this is a decently fun vehicle to drive around, it's not that fast, it's not that stable, it will fall over sometimes, and it doesn't turn very well. But you know, when you're driving around in it, you can kind of feel like you're playing SnowRunner, or you could just play SnowRunner. The TwinSteer is arguably better at that because it's a much more iconic SnowRunner vehicle. The TwinSteer is definitely the more impressive of the two. It's just such a shame that it's so laggy, and there's kind of not much I can do about that without sacrificing significant sort of detail and function. I mean, I could significantly simplify the suspension setup, get rid of the wheel that moves, get rid of opening the bonnet and that kind of stuff, and that would probably make the lag go away. Less moving parts probably equals less lag, but then it just wouldn't be anywhere near as cool. I want to build something in this game in particular because I want to make it work. If I wanted to make a nice little model, then I can just go and make it in Blender. Not that I know how to use Blender, but like, you get the point. This is Scrap Mechanic, not Scrap Modeling. I want it to move, I want it to work, I want to have it function. Unfortunately, the game cannot handle this because it is rather poorly optimized, and the devs have been stuck in feature creep hell for 5 years. But I do have more ideas of vehicles from SnowRunner or from other games that I could build in this, so if you do enjoy this and you want to see me make more of these kind of things, then do let me know. Or if you have specific ideas of things you want me to build, then again, let me know. You can do that in the comments of the video, or you can join my Discord server and come and have a chat over there. But that is going to be it for this video, so thanks for watching, don't get distracted, go subscribe now, and until next time, goodbye.